In today's video, we're covering the latest from Manchester United, including fan reactions, Bruno Fernandes' thoughts on Maguire, player ratings after the Fulham loss, and Wayne Rooney's call for a former teammate's return to fix the club's goal-scoring issues. Stay tuned. Manchester United fans made their point with early chant after imposter criticism. Where would Manchester United be without Bruno Fernandes? In a better place, according to former captain Roy Keane, staring down the abyss of irrelevance in reality. In a week when Fernandes' importance to United was again placed in the spotlight by Keane's caustic midweek comments, the club's current captain was once again the only person standing between United and total humiliation. Keane's criticism came at a strange time, when the importance of Fernandes to United was clearer than ever to see. The captain is integral in a team missing its other real attacking threat in Ahmad, especially when Alejandro Garnacho remains peripheral under Ruben Amorim. United's reliance on Fernandes was clear against Fulham. He was the deepest player in their 3-1-3-3 build-up shape, and it helped them start the game well and dictate the tempo. But when he played the ball forward, the front five showed the limitations of this team. Diogo Dalot and Noussair Mazraoui offered no feat from the flanks, and Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund have already been exposed as not quite good enough. Christian Eriksen showed his class at times, but he is 33 and on his way out at the end of the season. United needed Fernandes to set the tempo outside his own box and be the threat outside Fulham's. As they got desperate, that is what he did. Dalot's low cross picked Fernandes out well, but he still had plenty to do. The low left-footed shot was a superb goal and the 7th in a row he has been at the heart of, dating back to the late win in the 4th round against Leicester City. Keane labeled him an imposter, but without him this side really would be in a relegation scrap. The Stretford end nailed their colors to the mast early on, chanting Fernandes' name first of those in the team and doing so for a lengthy period after he cancelled out Calvin Bassey's first-half goal. After getting the equalizer, Fernandes was everywhere. With Matthijs de Ligt struggling physically, Fernandes was staying tight to him defensively, often dropping into the back three to cover the Dutchman when required. When he could get on the ball, the 30-year-old was looking to quickly move it forward or carry it into the opposition half. The problem for United is that without Fernandes in the final third, the threat is sporadic at best. For 20 minutes they had looked bright. It was as well as they've started a game in a while. The issue was the five involved in that attack, and it explained why a reasonable start fizzled away. There is simply nothing to fear in this team beyond Fernandes, and when the opposition work that out, Bruno Fernandes shares Harry Maguire verdict ahead of Manchester United's trip to Real Sociedad. Manchester United will not retain the FA Cup after being dumped out in the 5th round by Fulham on Sunday afternoon. Erik ten Hag guided Manchester United to FA Cup glory last season, beating Manchester City in the final. There is to be no repeat this season though, with United beaten by Fulham on penalties at Old Trafford. Calvin Bassey opened the scoring for Fulham, nodding home as United struggled to defend a first-half corner. Bruno Fernandes hauled United level, but neither side could find a winner in extra time, sending the game to penalties. Bernd Leno saved from both Victor Lindelof and Joshua Zirkzee, sending Fulham through and dumping United out. Bruno Fernandes on Harry Maguire. Ineos want European football at United, but the route in now almost entirely rests on Europa League success. Ruben Amorim has hit back at Wayne Rooney, but this was another disappointing afternoon for the United boss. United must recover quickly though, with Thursday's trip to Real Sociedad in the Europa League looming large. One man who may be feeling exhausted ahead of the flight to Spain is defender Harry Maguire. Maguire managed 90 minutes of action before being substituted for United's January signing Aiden Heaven. The England international has taken on a major workload in the early stages of 2025 and started every single game in February. Now starting the first game of March 2, Maguire appeared shattered as Heaven took his place. Speaking to the official FA Cup account on X, Captain Bruno Fernandes admitted that Maguire was very, very tired upon being substituted. Bruno pointed to the sheer workload United senior players are taking on right now, pointing to a tough schedule given the injury problems around the squad. Bruno praised Heaven and Cheeto Obi for strong substitute appearances, but pointed to a host of tired players, including Victor Lindelof, Matthijs de Ligt and Zirkzee. "It's just tiredness from the game," said Bruno. "For the moment, obviously, we don't have many players to play. We've been playing most of the games with the same players all the time, and then it's 120 minutes. It's been tough. Today, you had to give an opportunity again to Cheeto, to Aiden. They did very well again for us, coming out from the bench. Obviously, you've seen H came off. He was very, very tired. Vic doesn't play for a long time. Mata, he was running out of legs at the end. Josh also, because he wasn't always starting and always playing 90 minutes, and now he's been doing that for 4 games in a row, and obviously you run out of legs," he added. Bruno Fernandes comments a concern for Thursday night. United's injury list is pretty lengthy right now. Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, Johnny Evans, Altai Bayender, Lisandro Martinez, Ahmad, Kabi Menu, Toby Collier, and Tom Heaton are all on the sidelines. Manchester United player ratings versus Fulham with 3-4 out of 10s, but Matthijs de Ligt good in FA Cup exit. Manchester United's defense of the FA Cup is over after a penalty shootout defeat to Fulham at Old Trafford on Sunday. The visitors took the lead on the stroke of halftime as Rodrigo Muniz's flick-on found Calvin Bassey, and the Fulham defender headed home from close range. United struggled to create any clear-cut chances, but they grabbed an equalizer when Diogo Dalot picked out Bruno Fernandes with a pinpoint cross, and the United captain swept home to make it 1-1. Neither side managed to find a winner in 90 minutes or in extra time, so a penalty shootout was required. Victor Lindelof and Joshua Zirkzee missed from the spot as Fulham won the shootout 4-3. Here are how the players rated at Old Trafford. Andre Onana had a heart-in-mouth moment when he fumbled a cross. Let down by teammates for Bassey's goal. Decent save from Emile Smith-Rowe. Made an even better save in added time. 7. Matthijs de Ligt used the ball better than usual, and United had some joy from his switches of play in the first half. Attacked as well as he defended. Harry Maguire. United should have had Maguire on Muniz or Bassey for corners rather than smaller players. Important intervention to stop Muniz. 6. Lenny Yoro did not keep tabs on Bassey's movement for the goal. His game was surprisingly cut short in the 54th minute when Victor Lindelof, of all people, replaced him. 5. Nussair Mazraoui. Slow to react when Bassey darted into the 6-yard box to make it 1-0. Had a harmless header caught by Bernd Leno. Performed tirelessly, especially when he has been fasting during Ramadan. 7. Manuel Ugarte got booked, his 11th yellow card of the season, and was off the pace to challenge Muniz for the flick-on that Bassey scored from. 4. Bruno Fernandes had United's only decent effort in the first half and took another potshot in the second half before his world-class technique secured an equalizer. Scored his penalty. 7. Diogo Dalot attacked more than usual in the first 20 minutes from de Ligt's raking passes, but regressed until he looked up and spotted Fernandes. Diligent and durable. Made it 6 of 6 from penalties. 7. Christian Eriksen crossed carefully for Rasmus Højlund to put well wide and struggled to have much more of an influence and made way for Casemiro. 5. Joshua Zirkzee. An improvised prod hit the side netting, and that was as close as he came to a goal. Not always sharp enough, but played in Alejandro Garnacho for a match-winning chance. Terrible penalty. 6. Rasmus Højlund started bullishly, and his movement for the near-post chance was encouraging, but he drew murmurs of disapproval for failing to challenge Bassey. Cheers greeted his removal. For subs, Alejandro Garnacho brought impetus to the United attack and lifted the crowd. Should have done better with his chances. 6. Wayne Rooney calls for Man United to re-sign his former teammate to solve goal-scoring woes. Manchester United hero Wayne Rooney claims that Danny Welbeck could be the answer for the goal-shy Red Devils. Ruben Amorim's side are currently embroiled in an awful season as they sit 14th in the Premier League. They have scored just 33 league goals, with their highest-scoring forward Joshua Zirkzee netting on just 3 occasions, while Rasmus Højlund has just 2 league goals. Former United striker Welbeck, now 34, has scored almost double that alone with 8 strikes to his name this term. The latest coming in extra time as Brighton saw off Newcastle in the FA Cup. And in the aftermath of that dramatic winner, his former teammate Rooney believes he would still do a job at Old Trafford. He said, "Danny, he's great to play alongside, and if I'm being completely honest, I would probably still like to see him here playing for Manchester United. He scored goals throughout his career, had injuries in early part of his career, but seems to have got over them and he's having a fantastic season. Rooney's assessment is similar to that of Gary Neville, who has also suggested that Welbeck would be an ideal candidate for United's current system. He said, "He was let go too quickly at United. If you think about Louis van Gaal, his style of play is very precise. Now Danny Welbeck wasn't precise in his game back then, so Van Gaal just let him go. He didn't fancy him at all. But he's actually perfect for how Manchester United should play. Threatening space in behind, playing off front players. This idea that he's not good enough for Manchester United is absolutely rubbish. He's good enough to be in a pool of 3 or 4 strikers at United. For instance, Liverpool have 3, 4, 5 forward players across their forward line. They're all of differing abilities and different types. Welbeck is a product of the United Academy, and he went on to make 142 appearances and scored 29 goals before a move to Arsenal. The striker has also earned 42 caps for England, with Brighton boss Fabian Hürzeler refusing to rule out a return to the national team setup. "It might be possible, but it is not my decision," Hürzeler said to ITV. "The only thing I can say is I am happy to work with him. He is a great leader, great role model, and a great player.